what is up, folks? Welcome back to another riveting episode of Murder with Mike. I am your host and your boy Mike, and today we're diving into the tragic and disturbing waters of a case that rocked the quiet town of Jonesboro, Arkansas back in 1998. That is right, y'all. We're talking about the Westside Middle School Shooting. So grab your notepads, a cozy blanket if you need it, and maybe some tissues, because this one is going to be a heavy ride. So picture this. It is March 24th, 1998. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. A typical Monday afternoon. Little did the residents of Jonesboro know their peaceful lives were about to be forever changed. Westside Middle School was a place of learning and innocence, a second home to many young souls, and a place that unfortunately became a battleground. Two teenagers, Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden, decided to take the lives of their classmates and teachers into their own hands. It was a cold, calculated act that left 5 people dead and 10 others injured. Now, let's break it down, y'all. Our story begins with Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden, two 13-year-old boys who had a vendetta against their school. They were both students at Westside Middle and had a history of troublemaking and discipline issues. Now, they were also known to be fascinated with firearms and had a penchant for the darker side of life, including violent video games and the macabre. On the day of the shooting, they both wore military fatigues and had their faces obscured by bandanas. They armed themselves with a cache of weapons, including 2 semi-automatic rifles, a bolt-action rifle, and a sawed-off shotgun. They stole these weapons from Mitchell's home, along with a large amount of ammunition. They set the stage by pulling the fire alarm to create chaos, and as their classmates and teachers were filing out of the school building, expecting a routine fire drill, the 2 snipers in training opened fire from the nearby woods. The carnage was unimaginable. 5 precious lives were taken, 4 girls and 1 teacher, who had stepped in to shield her students from the bullets. Now, the community was in shock. How could 2 young boys be capable of such horror? Well, the plot thickens. After the murderous rampage, they didn't even flee the scene like typical school shooters. Oh no. They had a plan. They had stolen their parents' cars and had parked them nearby. They dashed to the vehicles pretending to be just as scared and shocked as their classmates. But the police weren't fooled for long. Within minutes, they were on the scene, and their calm demeanor under the circumstances was very suspicious. They were apprehended, and their story began to unravel. So, the motive? Well, it wasn't your typical of being bullied or being left out. These 2 had a twisted plan to go out in a blaze of glory, hoping to kill as many people as possible. They were obsessed with the idea of becoming infamous. The investigation showed that they had meticulously plotted this out. They had drawn up maps of the school, identified the best spots for their attacks, and even taken into account the response time of the local authorities. Now, let's take a minute and talk about the aftermath. The Westside Middle School shooting was the 2nd deadliest school shooting at the time, only surpassed by the Columbine High School massacre the following year. It brought to light the issue of school safety and the accessibility of firearms to minors. The boys were tried as juveniles despite their heinous crimes. They were sentenced to the maximum punishment allowed, which was incarceration until their 21st birthdays. But here's where it gets controversial. Due to a loophole in Arkansas law, these boys were released from custody at the age of 18, y'all. Now, Andrew Golden has kept a low profile since the release, but not Mitchell Johnson. He has had several run-ins with the law. In 2017, he was even arrested for assault and battery in a domestic dispute. He's been in and out of the system, which has led to a lot of debate about whether rehabilitation truly worked for him. But hey, let's not forget about these victims, y'all. The families of these 5 people killed and the survivors had to live with the scars of that day. The town of Jonesboro had to rebuild, both physically and emotionally. Schools across the nation took a long, hard look at the security measures and made significant changes. The Westside Middle School shooting was a wake-up call for America. It was a stark reminder that even the most unexpected places could become the backdrop for tragedy. And it's also a reminder that we need to keep talking about these events so we can understand and hopefully prevent them from happening again. Hey guys, that's all for today's episode of Murder with Mike. Remember folks, the world is a complex place, and the why behind the what can be as important as the who and the how. Join me next time when we tackle another case that will have you guys on the edge of your seat. Until then, stay safe and keep those true crime vibes coming, y'all.